5-lap French Grand Prix coming your way. A pole for the first time in Moto2 for the Spanish rookie Raul Fernandez on the rider Bo Ben Schneider. Row 3 headed by World Championship leader Remy Gardner on that side. Vieja, he's got a good record here in Le Mans. Baldassari, Schrotter, and our race from the last time out, the Gian Antonio go from row 4 this morning in the warm-up. Arbolino just missed out on a place in Q2 yesterday. He heads row 7 ahead of former Moto3 rivals Dalla. Vietti, Barry Baldas, good to welcome him back after his first round injury. He's on the grid there on the 9th row.
Here they go then. Ready to start this Moto2 race, this Triumph 7.6 tyre sheet. A few riders going for the softer option front tyre, including Remy Gardner and the Spanish Grand Prix race winner Ferrari have gone for that softer option rear tyre. But most notably, Matt, the main protagonists in this World Championship have all gone for the
dry circuit here, cloudy conditions over Le Mans. How many times have we said that down the years? 20th visit in the modern mode in Spain. Can he break the pole curse in Moto2 here at the legendary Bugatti circuit? Pecco here in Le Mans to have actually won from pole position. That was in 2018, so there's a bit of pole curse around here in France.
Fernandez on pole, Raul is just 6 points behind his teammate, 3rd overall. Then it's Bezzecchi and Fauci and Joe Roberts. Could this be finally the day that Joe Roberts has been longing for, Matt, where Star Spangled Banner is
John Kaczynski way back in 1990. Will that record be broken here today by Joe Roberts?
Lights out in France. A good start initially off the line there from Raul Fernandez. Not so much from Joe Roberts.
Bezzecchi was brilliant off the line. Superb launch. There was almost contact between him and the poleman Fernandez as they click through the gears to that fast first.
Remy Gardner in contact with someone mid-pack as they drop down the hill into turn 6. A great start then from number 72. Marco.
It's been an excellent start for the Boscoscura man as well. He picks up Joe Roberts coming through the museum corner. Elbow to elbow, side by. Just runs in a little bit wide. Are there a few rain spots on the camera lens there at turn number 8? I hope they're a legacy of this morning's rain showers.
What a start from big
Connect's
for Connect. Wow. At turn 9, he's gone down. He's up on his feet, which is good to see.
In the warm-up here last year, a huge crash at La Chapelle. Lost the tip of one of his fingers on his left hand, so the Le Mans pain and
10th. Sorry, that's Fernandez, isn't it? Augusto Fernandez now, then he's moved up into 3rd place. He's just up ahead there.
Started in P10, he's crossed the line at the end of the first lap in that 10th place, so no progress made as yet by the British. Roberts got in hot there, Stevie, almost tagged the back of Augusto Fernandez, dropping down the hill into La Chapelle. That was very tight. That one all back up.
Here is the Ital Trans rider from Malibu and California. Slightly different weather there at the moment to what we're in contact between Vieja and Gardner on the first lap.
Yeah, I believe I did. Vieja looked like he got in a bit hot, like you do, you know.
Luckily, thanks for that, Simon. Luckily, both riders are in this race, although Gardner there just ahead of Sam Lowes with work to do. They've got Arbolino, number 14, just...
He's had his woe so far in 2021 after an outstanding finish.
Augusto Fernandez has gone down. Well, he was up inside
the top 3 last time out, didn't he? In Jerez, very early on as well, so... Poor run continues for the 23-year-old.
The fight away through on Baldassari. Really good to see Lorenzo Baldassari running at the front of races again, number 7 there.
Gets from the start of 2019 when he won those first, well, he won 3 of the first 4 races. Everybody was talking about a big MotoGP move for himself. This is difficult, Steve, because these guys have had such limited dry track time. They don't really understand what the grip levels are or how.
Tony Arbolino.
He was lucky there not to collect Arbolino.
Really lucky. He didn't listen much to Cito Pons on the grid either, did he?
Arbolino will have no other in the front, just said no more, can't take it. Manzi out early, then his teammate Hector though he's making a real fist of it at the moment.
Jason had the rhythm. He's just going to bide his time. As they come across the line though, it's Bezzecchi who still leads from Fernandez. Roberts, hey, will he make it into turn 3? Here he comes. He's not quite close enough.
How tight do you want it in the championship? Long picture will change quite dramatically. Alonso Lopez on his Moto2 World Championship debut. He was a 11th hour call-up yesterday. More fair. Happily he's okay, but he's on the floor at turn 10.
This new Triumph era of Moto2 has provided some excellent racing. Rose has gone down and he's taken Vieja. Now there must have been contact. He was trying to get through on him.
Baldassari's involved as well.
There's 3 riders that
stop into garage there. Turn number 8. Sam Lowes. That's a disaster for him. He was second in the championship. Joe Roberts.
The World Championship. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. Crashed out at Portugal, of course. Bit further back then. Lowes is up. He's just squeezing the brakes on, trailing the brakes in, and unfortunately he goes down, and then he takes Xavi with him.
The innocent victim.
That was Hector Gartho, I think, just taking a wide line through turn 3. It's getting spicy at the front of this race. These 3
Fire MotoGP stewards later on. I'll have a good close look at that. And when you're caught taking out another rider, there can be Fernandez. No way for him to attack down the hill into garage fair. This top 3 then Sam Lowe's, he's not going to get that motorcycle.
Leading trio, 72 is Bezzecchi, 16 Roberts, and then number 25 Raul Fernandez! Contact, front wheel up!
Joe Roberts, you've got to be so accurate there. It's one of the few points, the approach that you're in sixth gear around this Le Mans circuit, then you're not the Bezzecchi, who's lost the race lead as well. Fernandez has got through. High drama here already in Le Mans. Sam for the win as well. He's also on the floor.
Yeah, and we're only 5 laps down here, so it's Fernandez then that now leads from Bezzecchi further back.
I said yesterday when he spoke to Simon Crowfoot, having just missed out on Q2, that they found something in the drying condition. Roberts, bitter disappointment for him.
Simon, we're going to watch the crash again. Get your thoughts on this if possible.
Somewhere, but someone else is on that. Oh, yeah, he's just squeezed it too hard. Real shame.
Yeah, a bit to go. Down he goes, hits the contact with Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi very lucky to stay on board.
Millimetres then third place. Outstanding job by him so far. He's of course had recent arm pump surgery. He was having a few physical problems. Collision instigated by Loja, I have to say, down the hill into Garage Fair.
Fastest lap of the race from Tiger Tony, number 14 by Raul Fernandez. But you just knew that when it all clicked together, we were going to be seeing plenty of the craze.
He wasn't enjoying life, wasn't enjoying riding, didn't feel fast, didn't feel competitive. It was all getting a bit draining. There's nothing worse than in FP3. The smile back on Tony Arbolino's face and the pace back as well.
A look further. I remember Chandra had to take a penalty. He's in 10th. Here comes Remy Gardner. Thought about a look, number 87 there. On through on the approach to turn 11. No room there for the Aussie.
Yeah, this is where Arbolino needs to be as well, Steve, at the sharp end of races. Oh, this contact here was trying to force the move on the inside of Gartho, going into the blur S's, and it's Gartho that's come out the worst of it. He's
waiting there as to whose fault that was. Fastest lap of the race, Cameron Beaubier, the American, in 9th. Excellent
to get through on Gartho, because what you can see is this trio, Ben Schneider, Gardner and Arbolino, they're starting to break away, and the gentleman initially will be able to make a clear judgment on the replay, but it looked like he picked up Gartho and just ran him off at the blur S's.
On board here, either up ahead, he can see Remy, his teammate Raul Fernandez out front, building his lead now.
Hey Lowe's, Fernandez and Canet, shocking day, the home Grand Prix for the elf-backed Mark VDS Racing.
With 87, Remy Gardner looking up ahead to the Dutchman, Ben Schneider. It's still there, Raul Fernandez who leads.
On slick tyres, so it's going to be as well about tyre management towards the end of this race. Who can keep the life by MotoGP stewards? Freddie Spencer will be a busy man after the race action concludes here today in France.
The two Elf Mark VDS riders then, unfortunately, they're going to have to watch the rest of this race. There's Augusto with his father.
Him trying to offer an explanation as why he crashed right here into Garage Fair, wiping out Xavi Vieja in the... Ralph Fernandez and Marco Bezzecchi immediately behind Lowe's in the championship and not too far behind him. Well, right now, their circulator's
closing onto the tail now of Marco Bezzecchi. A long lap penalty coming then for Fabio Di Gianantonio as a result of that.
The long lap penalty, if you're interested, is down at the Garage Fair corner, turn number 8, so we'll keep an eye on when Di Gianantonio takes that.
Penalty further back at the moment, though. He's in 21st place, just behind Jake Dixon, who is not having a memorable return to France here, unfortunately.
He's now over a second clear of Marco Bezzecchi. This was moments after Joe Roberts had launched it at a switch.
Doing a fine job at the moment, Raul Fernandez. Remember, he's been in positions like this a few times now. He did an championship lead into Mugello. He's a rookie, ladies and gentlemen. He's on pole for his first time in the wet on a Moto2.
Rest, constantly opening and closing the throttle, hard-braking. It really did punish that Robbinger so much for your body to contend with. He'll still be adjusting his physical training to get used to these Moto2 bikes, so 37.2s.
Di Gianantonio did take his penalty loop last time out. He's Dalla Porta, Di Gianantonio, Cyrene, Buliga. Has he been given another long lap penalty, Fabio Di Gianantonio? There's Beaubier trying to put a move just up ahead on Marcel Schrotter in the battle for 6th place.
I'm pretty sure he may well have Beaubier and Schrotter, so they know each other very well already in 2021. You can see how costly that long lap penalty was. What, 2 or 3 seconds, that's all it costs you, and you can get back in the battle. Di Gianantonio, though, the race leader, Fernandez, at 37, having taken that long loop.
Let's see how the lap times fare this time around as we now come across the line to complete lap 11. Fernando Quimoli intact, German machine.
Di Gianantonio failed to comply with the long lap penalty.
Turn 6 we go. Arbolino now putting some real pressure on Remy Gardner.
You can't believe the sudden transformation. Been absolutely brilliant. We did not see this coming from Tony Arbolino.
Well, I think we all thought it was going to come eventually.
A couple of weeks out, and the confidence it will course through his veins now, mixing it with the best in Moto2. What he's going to be learning as well, it's
now even gone for Fabio Di Gianantonio, who won last time out. He comes out side by side there with Tom Luthi, who's on for his first points of the season. These guys have just taken about a tenth out of the race leader, Raul Fernandez, on this lap. Well, really closer, and is 2/10 of a second quicker than Raul Fernandez out front. Bezzecchi looking for his first win. Ben Snyder, who has had a Grand Prix podium before in Moto3.
But it's Fernandez and Bezzecchi again. They just exchanged PB laps, comfortably lapping in those low 1:37s. It's the man in second, comfortable margin of 7/10 back to Ben Schneider in third place, who at the moment is doing an outstanding job of keeping Gardner and Ives on the ripples. It just unsettled the bike. Has that cost him his exit speed as well? No, he did well actually to gather it all back up there, Garland, led to a move from Arbolino, but he did really well to crack the throttle open there and still keep his acceleration, the Aussie.
Ben Snyder really dragged now. There are the trio. Let's see how they fare across the line now. The top 5 come across the line then. It is the halfway point of this motor.
Halfway point. Nobody has done this number of laps on slick tyres. So this is a bit of a journey into the unknown. It'll be the experience reverted back to a setup from previous years. This is what's making Fernandez's performance and Arbolino's performance leave all the more at this point. He's got much higher corner speed. His drive out of corners is looking good as well. Here's the Gian Antonio. Look, yeah, on the white line. And then wide.
Oh dear.
Unfortunately, that is not taking the long lap.
2 weeks ago in Spain, fortunately at the moment. 11th, 12th at best beckons for him. Reason they knew that he was an outstanding talent. He's come through from 19th on the grid, the rookie, to be into time from Raul Fernandez, the race leader, to build his lead to 1.3, a 1:36.993
so far. At the moment, Bezzecchi's got no answers. He was again in a low 1:37s.
Dropping down a hill into turn 7. The gap 1.2 ahead of Marco Bezzecchi, the American, and then Agura, Schrotter, Dalla Porter is on for a season best ninth as well.
This performance by Raul Fernandez, though, this is going to prick up the ears of a lot of MotoGP managers who've really rolled out the big checkbook and tried to get Fernandez on board. And RSGP in the future, Tom Luthi, who's got such a great record here in the performances, whether he'll do a Joan Mir Maverick Vinales and just try and get out of Moto2 as quickly as hold of him. All the talk about Remy Gardner moving to Tech 3, will they move the pair of them up into MotoGP? Because what? He might step up like the boys did in the past.
Well, I think KTM are the people at the moment who hold the key to that, if it's for sure. 10 laps to go here in Moto2, and at the moment, Raul Fernandez, who we're discussing, his lead is just...
I'm super pleased for Tony Arbolino to be up there fighting with his front group, you know, for the first time. Also, Ben Snyder.
Yeah, very, very good point. Thanks very much, Simon. They've done 15 laps so far on. Moves up into third place then. Tony Arbolino now fancies a move on the Dutch rider as well.
Yeah, Gary, of course, coming up very, very shortly. Can Arbolino then also find a way through on the Dutchman? That could be key for his podium.
About to fall into a Tony Arbolino trap. He's got excellent drive out of turn 2 and 3, but he's got the hot tight line.
Grand Prix, he's been fighting and wrestling that Calex chassis all season long. Here's the move then from Gardner into the S-Blur here. Time on his side to hunt down Bezzecchi and Fernandez.
Good news from Malaysian fans. Hafi Shirin is on for some penalties. Here comes Arbolino up the inside then. Off though Ben Snyder. That was coming. Ben Snyder then drops to fifth. Company. The answer to that is, of course, no.
No, he won't see Cameron Bobier, who's doing an absolutely tremendous job. Position coming from the more powerful superbikes he's been riding in America so well for so many years. And Remy Gardner, 9.86. And already he started to take big chunks out of Bezzecchi ahead of him. That gap's come down to under a second. Very, very...
The leader of the championship at the start of this race, but now he's on the podium hunting down Marco Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi's run a good race himself. Up towards turn 8 he comes.
He's been reeling off low 1:37s for fun in this race. The problem is it's just marginally slower than at the moment. That's why Fernandez is just able to keep that advantage to around a second, 1.1, 1.2.
Seeing clouds around just at the top left of your picture there, although we've reached a stage in this race now where if the rain were to fall, which is coming up soon, don't go anywhere. An incredibly interesting race coming up in the Premier Club.
His hooks into Bezzecchi. That gap's dropped down to just over 0.6 of a second. Bezzecchi in 37 flat from him. So as we mentioned just previously, speed and consistency has been brilliant from the
Raul Fernandez. That was a little bit deep initially into turn 8, but he's managed to make that back up again.
Thought he was heading off the circuit.
In the back end of last year in Moto3, where he started making headlines, to the start of this year, he was moved up into Moto. Really is able to unveil some superstars, and Remy Gardner then is through. Now Bezzecchi must have made a mistake at that point. And there we see he's handed second place over to the Australian.
Yeah, how costly could that be for Bezzecchi? Break centre turn, number 8, all the hard work's been done again for the Rossi protege.
Well, Aki Aiho's riders are now, if my maths are correct, a 1-point lead over Raul Fernandez into Mugello.
Are they? The young talent that they've got on their books right now. There is Aki Aiho on the left of your picture, the Red Bull KTM Marco, the great current king, Marc Marquez.
Well, good to see that. Crash would be costly. He drops 23 points down into 4th.
Yeah. 2 DNFs in the last 3, Steve, of course, and early on.
This isn't over yet in the battle for the race win. In the moment that Remy Gardner managed to get past Bezzecchi Gardner on that last lap, that's one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Arbolino and Ben Schneider, they're hitting a few prod behind Bezzecchi. So he'll be waiting for a mistake from the top 3 to get him on the podium for the first time in Moto2. And Ben Schneider now is Ben Schneider. He won't have to worry about anybody behind him. Cameron Beaubier is miles back, 15.7.
Beaubier has hit some trouble. He has.
Oh no.
Over at turn 3, Cameron Beaubier, it was on to be his best result in folding. Luckily, as he zooms across, he doesn't rejoin the other side of the circuit. His bike does.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Beaubier, yet again, blows another really strong point-scoring opportunity. There's no doubt about it. Go there for big point-scoring place. He just seems to let the mistakes creep in.
Raul Fernandez has responded. The gap stays now. Who's moved up to 6th ahead of Schroeter. Oh, big moment there. Di Gianantonio forces his way through on Somkiat.
Fabio Di Gianantonio, super aggressive from him as he tries to recover a top 10 after a couple of visiting.
The ride of his career in Moto2 as well, the former Moto3 champion. He's in 8th place.
Here is in Portimao a couple of races ago, the best in Moto2 for Lorenzo Dalla Porta, so the 23-year-old Italian, former Moto3 champ. And at the moment, all he can do is hold on to that 3rd place. It's become a lonely 3rd right now for the Italian.
Obvious, we need a slow-mo camera for that one.
Yeah, you could see as well, off the curb, Steve, how slippery and greasy it was after all the...
There are track sensors all the way around every circuit we go to in Grand Prix racing, so you don't even need half a wheel over.
He's coming back to me. Fernandez responds with a brilliant 36.983, his best lap of the race, and now the gap in the World Championship. I am going to be the World Championship leader. That's job done. No point in taking any silly risks at this point in the Grand Prix with your teammate.
Start of this season, many look towards Remy Gardner and Sam Lowes as being the 2 standout candidates in at the moment. Is on course for a 1-2 here, his first 1-2 of the season. Over to you.
Early on, because we haven't seen a good fight between these 2 teammates, and I think it would have been on today.
The reason why he had to come through so many riders was because of contact with Vierge on the opening lap. Now, had that not have happened...
Then Gardner, 2 laps to go. And there is your lap progression over the last 4 laps. And it's been creeping up in brilliant late on in Portugal when he hit the front with 4 or 5 laps to go. He had pace that nobody else could match. Now, why take the risk?
Yeah, I think he's there to pick up the pieces should it go wrong. Further back, Di Gianantonio's done an outstanding job to get himself back up to 7th after 2 long lap penalties. He's there after an Italian there, number 24 as well, in 9th place. He's got a great relationship with this Le Mans.
His Envy Augusta teammate as Di Gianantonio tries to stand firm against Ayagura. He does just about do that. And it's a commanding and convincing 1.8 second lead then for Raul Fernandez over his Red Bull KTM teammate, Remy.
In just his 5th Moto2 race, Raul Fernandez here on the brink of victory number 2. Gardner has got quite a bit to think about in that Aiho garage. He's done a great job, Remy Gardner, here to fight his...
He's been on rails, Fernandez. It's been pretty much inch perfect. Can't really recall too many occasions when we've seen him on screen. Not going to be satisfied with the gap to this man. He'd have expected to have put up much of a stronger fight, but he'll be happy with a podium.
He's to impress, and Aki Aiho's men are putting pressure on the big heads in KTM in terms of a MotoGP next. Performance from both of Aki Aiho's riders. They win. Fernandez takes glory. Gardner takes 2nd. Bezzecchi back.
Arbolino and Ben Schneider, this titanic battle for 6th place, well, that's still raging, and it looks like it's going to be advantage Mark corner. Schroeter does take 6th, ahead of Agura. The Gianantonio, despite 2 trips to the long lap penalty loop, gets 8th corner in Moto2 and a career best. But what a job by Raul Fernandez. He gets the congratulations from Tony Arbolino in MotoGP. Let's pop down to pit lane. I'm sure Simon Crafars with a delirious Aki Aiho. It's meant 1 and 2 here.
Anything more perfectly?
I don't know what to say, because what I have to say today, we survived really well.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Simon.
Yeah, huge congratulations. The span at the moment for him as well.
Fantastic scenes here in France. Another dominant performance then by Ralph Fernandez. Remy Gardner recovering from the early contact with Xavi Vierge. Another solid podium.